security failures in the Parkland school massacre.
A warning, if there are children in the room, the content here may be disturbing.
Well, with all the screeching recently about Vladimir Putin and Russia and treason.
By the deadline is a couple of days before the debate. Are you concerned about that?
No. Jimmy, my emails are so boring.
We came, we saw, he died.
I don't want to see him impeached. I want to see him in prison.
On this Memorial Day, as our nation honors its unbroken line of fallen heroes, and I see many of them in the audience here today.
We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that.
I tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person.
I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Hello everyone, this is Jazz, your friendly computer assistant, and the producer of this ridiculous show. Well, before we get started, we have a couple of rules to go over. Absolutely no doxing anyone, and no threats at all. Also, no talking about anyone's children. Other than that, have a great time. And now, the one you've all been waiting for, the Jew with all the shekels. Your host, Steve Pinder.
Hello, everybody, and good evening. I hope everyone is enjoying the night. I really needed to do a live stream. I was actually going to make this video and then just post it, but I really thought it'd be best to just go live, and I thought I would have a good friend join me, because this discussion, I think, needs to be had. And it's not that I'm the authority on the First Amendment, but I did teach Constitution in college, and I think I know it fairly well. So I think let's get started. As soon as Brian King wants to call in, we can get this party going. And who knows, maybe we'll get a bigger crowd. This is not my normal time. I do not go live on Saturdays. Maybe out in the garage when I'm smoking a cigar, but not... Oh, you can still hear me? Yeah, Texas, I think I'm actually going to redo that. Yeah, you can hear me a little through that. Okay, I think we have Brian on the phone. Can you hear me okay?
No, this is the Pornhub salesman.
How's it going, man?
It's going. So, you know, here's what it is.
Yeah.
Freaking hot and humid.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm in Texas, dude. It's nasty. And we just had a little bit of a thunderstorm.
You know how everybody always says Texas is a dry heat, you know?
Bull
I'm
crap.
surrounded by lakes.
Yeah, it's been pretty muggy here, so I don't know about the whole dry heat thing, but
Yeah.
you know,
So
I guess the best way we've talked about this over and over again about the First Amendment, and I think we really need to discuss the I guess the ins and outs of it. I mean, first, I'm going to get it up on the screen, and let's just go over and read it again for everybody. And I want you to pay close attention to a few words in here, everybody. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably to assemble. Okay, the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. Think about that last word, grievance. Is that a happy word? Is that a word that means, oh, this is a warm, fuzzy thing? My personal opinion of the First Amendment is it's pretty harsh. And it's supposed to be harsh because it allows you to show how pissed off you are. Redress of grievance. Something has been done wrong. What do you think about that, Brian?
wait. Apparently the program didn't hear you too clearly because it said inaudible.
Oh, really? I'm inaudible? I think
the last part of what you were saying.
Oh, okay. I said that the First Amendment, the last word grievance, means that you're not happy. You're petitioning the government because you're pissed off about something. Something ain't right, and you're pissed off about it. So that doesn't exactly mean it's nice and warm and fuzzy words coming out of your mouth.
Generally, no.
No.
But, I mean, that's how it applies to free speech.
Yes. I don't think it's supposed to be. Or it's supposed to allow you to be antagonistic. If you think about that, because let's face it, the only problem I'm having lately with what I'm seeing in the activist community is it's not always addressed towards the government workers. We saw a few streams today where it was the bystanders, and I've seen some with other auditors where you have the cop, the buddies, I guess, the ones that are all over there thinking that, oh, I'm going to get on the cop side over here. I'm gonna start going after the auditor and start in trouble with them. And you guys call them bootlickers. That's fine. It makes no sense that they're going to get involved with it. What I'm saying is, what's going on in the auditing community is we're making enemies with the public. We're redressing the government, but we seem to be making enemies with the government, or with the public, because I don't believe they understand what they're seeing. When a cop violates someone's rights and they get pissed off, and we have private citizen bystanders watching this happen, because they're under the assumption, hey, we're supposed to be nice to the police, even when they're violating our rights. And I think we have to think of a different strategy. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, the problem is it falls under the category of mind your own business. I mean, the fact is, these people get up, they get in our face, they do all that. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. We're supposed to be spreading knowledge. I fully believe in that. And the problem is I also understand getting pissed at these people who come out of nowhere and get in our faces, block a camera, do all the stupid things that you've seen them do across many videos. As far as they've gone as far as to assault people before.
Yep.
So of course, I can't blame the auditor for getting pissed at the people too.
Because they're the ones you're fighting for. You're not just fighting for your own rights, you're fighting for theirs too, and they don't understand it. Now,
yeah, but how do you make them willing to listen?
You got to make what you're doing seem reasonable. Oh, they're fighting for my rights. And I have an example I can share. I don't know if you can see the screen, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to do the Italian hand gestures. Okay. Okay, we have this line that goes across, okay, with your First Amendment. Above it are the things that you can't say, the illegal things. Like you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't directly and imminently threaten somebody. Things like that. And that's the line. Everything else underneath that, it's permissible according to the First Amendment. It's your right. The problem is there's also another line that's lower, okay? And underneath that line is politeness. And then we have the line it's in the middle. There's a section in the middle, and people have forgotten what that is. And that is the redress of grievance. You don't have to be polite, and damn it, when someone is violating your rights, I don't really think you should be polite. You can't ask for your rights, because if you ask for them, then you don't have them. You demand them, you use them. So the auditor tends to take that politeness and move that up to the line where it's supposed to be, and yeah, they're going to get rude. The problem is, and this is like, how would you say, squatting. Think about this. Think about someone that squats on land unbeknownst to the person that owns the land, and over a certain amount of time, that person actually owns that land. The same thing happens with your rights. You have the line, and if you're not using that part of your rights, guess what happens to that line? And we've seen it happen. That line slowly starts to come down, because if you're not guarding that line, guess what? The other people are going to come down, and they're going to start encroaching on your rights. And we haven't guarded that line for about 40 or 50 years now. Everybody has learned to be polite and just go along with the police, and, oh, they must know that, they must know what they're doing. I must be in the wrong. No. And what happens is we've forgotten how to demand our rights. We've gotten lazy as citizens, and we've allowed this line to come down, and we're starting to lose that area where we can actually use some of our rights to get pissed off and demand stuff and say, look, government, you're screwing up, and you're acting completely out of line, and you're a bunch of scumbags as far as I'm concerned, and we need to go back up to that line. But the problem with that is the audience. The audience doesn't see that. We need to educate the public that this is okay. What do you think?
Well, you were, like I said, I agree. I fully believe in the whole spreading of knowledge. But now, just to address something in the channel, CCW keeps saying auditing is over, top watching is where it's at, all that. To a point, he's right. Yeah. Because, auditing itself has become taboo, and Inside Edition didn't help with that. And, but the fact is, auditing will never truly go away because cop watching is still a part of auditing. But, the bottom line is whether you're cop watching or you're auditing, doesn't matter. You still get people that come up and, why are you doing that? Why are you bothering the cops? Why are you being mean to them? Why don't you give them your ID? Whatever. That you gotta slowly, we're going to have to try to get people to understand that those bystanders are the people we need to convince as well, because we need more of them doing what we do. exercising their rights. And not like you said, if you don't exercise them, eventually it goes away.
Yeah.
Well, we need to help get them to exercise their rights. Convince them that this is the right thing. We're not out there causing harm. We're not out there to make cops look bad. Because the fact is, always, even News Mount Houston has said it, High Desert has said it, many have said it. Not all cops are bad cops. So we need the good cops on our side, and we need to get the people to wake up to this. So I agree. Let's not. I mean, like I said, I don't blame the auditor, activist, whatever you want to call them, for getting frustrated at the citizens. But slowly, we're going to have to try to help people understand that that's not the best course of action. Use your, take that frustration out on the government.
Yeah.
You talk to the people, help them, get them to understand why you're frustrated. Not be the subject of the frustration. So, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but...
Yeah, actually it does, and it's going to help segue into what I want to say now. What I think needs to happen is we need a different approach of education and start getting to the public, because here's what happened. What's happened in the last 10 years, and this might bend a couple of toes out there, and people may not like it, but do you understand how important it is to let the bigots, and the racists, and all those groups that just hate, and hate, it's extremely important to let them speak? Because what happens is the left, CNN, and all the other news organizations have created and have taken that yellow area that's still within your freedom of speech. And let me tell you something, I'm not crazy about the KKK and all the racists and bigots and homophobes that are out there. I'm not crazy about that group. The problem is that's the yellow area. That's also goes and it goes along with how the maybe the rudeness. When you redress grievance, you're supposed to be polite now because you don't want to get called a racist. I mean, think about this. We redressed our grievance with Obama, and every time we said anything about him that he was doing wrong, we were called a racist. And the only reason we didn't like what he was doing was because he was black. So there you go. Now that line, and it's not against your constitutional right to say those things, but what it did was, like you said earlier, it made it taboo. Now you can't say everything. There's certain trigger words, and they need safe spaces. The world has forgotten. The United States has forgotten how aggressively rude the First Amendment needs to be. It needs to be that. I don't want the KKK to be silenced because, frankly, I'd like to know who the assholes are. I don't want them to be silenced. I want to know that, oh yeah, there, look, right over there. Look at him. Yep, that's right. There's a racist. Fine. You don't have to go around him. But he's allowed to say what he says.
Yeah, but, that's where my argument comes into play here. Hate speech may be free speech, but it doesn't have to be tolerated speech. I mean,
yeah, true.
The fact is, many people agree with you about the whole let the people be assholes, because then you can figure out who the assholes are. Kaylin has explained this to me several times about the whole let people say what they want to say, because she wanted to know who the assholes were. But, okay, now what? Now you know who the assholes are. They're in everybody's freaking channel. They're in everybody's, whatever. Well, I'm using channels as examples, but it doesn't matter what the forum is. Now what? To me, I say block them. Now that you know who they are, don't let them in. I'm sorry if that's wrong. That blocks their free speech or whatever. But I shouldn't have to listen to it in my private forum.
Yep, that's just it. These spaces that we're in on YouTube is not public. It is a private forum, and you're here basically by subscription and invitation. It's not a public space, just like YouTube isn't it's a corporation. It's not a government entity. So your rights are limited here. And a lot of people think, oh, if you get timed out or you get, kicked out of a channel, oh, they're silencing my free speech. No one's stopping you from going and saying that on the sidewalk. You can go and say that on the sidewalk. I mean, I have a few rules. Right. Yeah.
Anybody that can talk in a channel has their own channel. That's the way YouTube works. You have to have a channel to talk in a channel. You can't go in a stream and talk in a stream unless you create a channel. So, why can't they go talk their shit on their own channel? I mean, that's what bothers the heck out of me. Is I'm so sick and tired of seeing the hate. No matter who it's directed at, whether it's directed at them or me, it doesn't matter. I'm tired of the hate, period. And there's like you say, it's that yellow area because people start crying, free speech, free speech. Okay, you want free speech, go start your own stream.
Well, that's just it. Their free speech doesn't negate mine. That's what people don't understand, and I say this over and over again. Your ability to say what you want doesn't stop my ability from just going, I don't want to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you. That's my right. I don't have to listen to you. On the public street, I can just walk away. And you know something? You can follow me. But there are laws for harassment.
Yep.
So
you're right, but
I really think. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go.
I was say, as it pertains to auditing, it's just frustrating. There's so many fine lines that have to be watched. When do you cross that line and go from trying to teach to being pissed off?
Yeah.
There's no handbook for this.
No.
So, that's kind of one of the problems with the First Amendment too, in a sense, is there's no handbook for it. It's extremely vague. So, the one thing though that is absolute, and you pointed this out right off the bat, is redressing your grievances to your government, not Joe Blow's bathroom mirror. I mean, it's just people forget that part. For a while, we were all getting to that point where we were blocking all the idiots, and we were saying our channel is not a sidewalk. Then all of a sudden, this whole "let them all speak" thing happened, and I'm like, why? It's just too much focus, too much effort, too much time, too much energy is spent on hate. And it should all be spent on exercising our rights, redressing our government, and spreading the knowledge. I've tried for a long time now. I've been part of this for several years now. And I've tried to help so many people learn. So, you're right. People, they gotta take a breath. When a citizen comes up to you and says, "Why are you being mean to that cop?" or "Why are you filming that cop?" or whatever, breathe. Take a breath. Instead of yelling, or instead of calling them a blues bag or a bootlicker or whatever, say, first thing you do is say, look, are you willing to listen to my side? If they say no, then call them a bootlicker and laugh at them, whatever. But at least give them the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, I agree. We have to get the sheep on our side. The sheep is trying to become friends with the wolf, and it's some kind of Stockholm syndrome because they don't understand that there's an encroachment on our rights, and we have a problem here. And if the public is against us, the sheep are against us, then guess what? We don't have a chance on changing anything. We have to show them that, hey, we're doing this because our rights were violated, and I am using my entire First Amendment right. As Boulder would say in the chat, I'm going to use all the words. Okay? And it's extremely important. And they have to understand, hey, look, my rights were just violated, and I'm pissed off. I'm not mad at you, sir. You can watch, but I am not going to back down when my rights are violated. If we approach it that way, we may start to actually win some of the sheep over and show them that we're not we're not trying to be a jerk. This is not how we want to be. This is how we have to be heard. Because obviously, if we ask for our rights, please, may we have our rights? No, we don't get them. They're our rights. We don't have to ask for them. And Boulder's right. It begins with education. Absolutely. We need to learn a new way to educate the public. And I think that the good auditors that are out there that really want to change something and not just go out there and cause problems and get views. If it's all about views and money, you don't need to be in this community. You don't need to be.
That's what I've been saying for several years now. There are auditors and activists, and there are YouTubers.
Yeah.
There are people that, I've seen countless times. I've seen, you're only in this for the money. You're only in this for the money. I've offered to show them my channel statistics. Let them see how little monetization money I get. Yeah. They don't care. They don't want to see that. Those are the idiots. Those are the ones that on the street, they're not going to listen to you. They're the keyboard warriors that get off on starting problems. Those are the ones that I say block. Whether you block them out of your mind on the street, just ignore them, or block them from your channel. Either way, don't let them interfere with what we're trying to do. It is all about education. It starts with education, and it'll end with education. One of the big popular saying is, good cops don't let bad cops do bad things. Well, you know what? Good cops are also human. They also have families. They have bills to pay. For all we know, they are turning the bad cops in. It's not like they run around saying, hey, I just went to IA about my chief because he's embezzling money. Mm-hmm. No, they're not going to do that. Then they end up with cement shoes at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
So you have no idea if they're turning in the bad cops. They could be turning in the bad cops all the time, but they're not going to come right out and say it. I have not met a single on-duty that will admit that. I've met several that are doing other jobs now that didn't say that.
It's funny you say this because I talked to one today and I hung out with one the other night. We were out hunting and we were talking about civil rights. And he said, the thing I hate most is a cop that violates someone's rights. And he has fired 3 of them since I've known him. And he's done with it. He goes, it just makes us look bad. He goes, it's the worst thing that you can do as a police officer is violate someone's rights. And then today, I talked to an old friend from my karate school up north that just retired a few years ago as a police officer after 23 years up north. And he said, man, I am so glad I got out when I did, because the police officers today are not the same as they were 20 years ago. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel now. And what they're getting is there's a lot more garbage on the force now.
They're taking the meatheads and the ones that are easily programmed and easily indoctrinated, and those are the ones that get the shiny piece of metal.
Yep.
You know, I mean, people say it all the freaking time. Like, waitresses get more training than cops do. I mean,
yeah.
What is it? You know, you go to academy for what, 6 weeks and you're a cop? I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, you got to go to freaking, you know, it takes you, oh God, what, 2 years to become a certified barista for one of the fancy restaurants? You know?
9 months, the academy. Yeah, 9 months in the academy. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not 9 months at the academy, 6 months at the academy, whatever. It's still not enough.
No. Well,
you guys are being, you know, you guys are walking around our streets with deadly weapons. You know, there's a quote that I got it from actually a DC Comics TV series, but says the difference between murder and execution is a matter of authority. You know, these guys, once they're authority figures, they're more likely to be seen as, oh, he shot that guy because he needed to, not because he felt like it, you know, or he overreacted, or his finger slipped on the trigger. They'll never admit all those things. They don't like to admit them.
Yeah.
So give them better training. Give them longer training.
Yeah,
look, sucker punch.
Yeah, look what's happening right now in Dallas. 600 officers short. Why are they short 600 officers? Because the police officers got tired. The good ones got tired of not being backed by the city council. I can't even begin to tell you how bad it's been. I have a friend, 26 years on the Dallas Police Department. He retired 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. You know why? He said they were stopped. They weren't. How do he put it was, and I want to quote him exactly. He said they cared less about crime and more about revenue. He said that's why he left the force. He was going to go for 30 years. He left at 26. He said, I'm done with it. They were more concerned with revenue, extortion. That's what revenue is, extortion, than actually fighting crime. And that's why the Dallas Police Department is 600 officers short, and crime is growing through the roof. And it's going to turn into mini Chicago here within 10 years, guaranteed.
You know what, Fred? I'm sorry, I have to disagree. I don't think 9 months is enough time. Okay, now here's a perfect example of this. Even if you only think about local laws, local ordinances, that kind of stuff, find one cop that knows every law they have to enforce. You know, they go by a blanket law or a blanket rule. Like, you know, the New York State Trooper Handbook, and I've seen it firsthand. I was shown it by a New York State Trooper investigator that's a great cop. And the very first thing it says in the books is arrest for all offenses. Because then it becomes officer discretion. So now, how long does it take to teach officer discretion? Oh, hey, Ozark, man. I'm sorry, man. I been leaving you messages trying to check up on you. So, sorry about that, bud. Give me a call tomorrow or later, whatever works.
Oh, yeah, I just said hi to, I saw Ozark and there. Fred. Yeah, no one can recite all the laws. Absolutely. We understand that. But what I'm saying is... Now Fred did say something I want to address. He said the vetting needs to be better. Absolutely. That is key. And I'll say this over and over again. Hand-to-hand combat needs to be more efficient when taught in the academy, because too many of these guys rely more on their gun and their taser than they do the ability to restrain someone. And we see it more and more because they will enter a life and death situation much faster with poor training. And I had a talk today for about 2 hours with my friend that we were both in martial arts together up north, beating the crap out of each other in the ring. And what happened was all that confidence transpired to the police force, and he subdued more people without using deadly force than all the other officers around him, and never had to shoot someone, and seldom ever had to draw his gun on anyone because of his ability to handle a physical confrontation. I say this over and over again. The classic example is that guy that got pulled over in the van, a black gentleman. You got a female officer and a male officer. The black guy was not cooperating, and I understand that's not a good situation. But when he left the vehicle, both of them drew their weapon. The man tased him, and the woman shot him. Classic example of, to her, that was a life and death situation because her training wasn't there. She couldn't handle a physical confrontation. The officer didn't see it that way, and he used his taser. That is a classic example of your training dictating what a life and death situation is.
Well, yeah, I agree totally, 100%. They're better vetting needs to be done, absolutely. Cops that have been fired from other districts, precincts, whatever you want to call it, should not be allowed to just go to any old other precinct and get hired. That's a big thing that they do. That was I forgot whose channel that was in earlier, but it was a topic. People were talking about that, and it's a good point to make. Why are they allowed to be fired for, stealing money from one precinct and go and be hired at another? Like, shouldn't they be blacklisted? What do you think about that? Should the cop be blacklisted?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, Fred just said it. Get fired and never get to work again, period.
Yeah. And Michelle makes another good point. Police dogs. I can't tell you how many times I've watched the video and I rewatched it over and over and over. And I'm like, that dog didn't signal. There's no way.
No, the officer can make the dog. But the officer knows they're all commands to make a dog signal a hit. There's all commands for that. It's just, and when a guy's filming from the inside of his car, he can't tell. He can't tell what the officer did. We've seen this happen. We're like, really? The dog got a hit. Now you're going to search my car and there's nothing in my car. They found nothing. When they say their dog got a hit and they find nothing in that vehicle, that officer should have at least a complaint filed and a misconduct or something for violating the rights. Yeah,
well,
for Mrs.
What about a quota? If that happens X number of times, then maybe that dog needs to be retired.
Yeah, retired or retrained. Or maybe the officer needs to be retrained.
Yeah, there's so many things we can go on and on about, but the bottom line is, like you said at the very beginning along this, it still starts with the people.
Yeah.
We have to get the people on our side. We have to get people to realize we are not, like what Inside Edition did is they tried to paint us in a very bad light.
I love New England Truth. Tyrone is an awesome guy, but sometimes he hurts himself. Okay, sometimes.
Yeah, well,
and the classic, just the other day, he got into an argument with someone, just a regular citizen observing it. Two of them, as a matter of fact, observing him, and he started. When all he had to do is, when they were kind of aggressive with him, he could have said, hey, man, I have no problem with you. My rights were just violated, and I'm making sure this dude knows it. I have no problem with you, but I'm making sure that this man understands he just violated my rights. And he did. That officer did violate Tyrone's rights. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I get it. You know, Tyrone knows he's very passionate, and there's a lot of things that have happened with him that people don't know. But he has definitely calmed down a lot, and he's working towards getting a whole lot better. And you know, I respect him wholly. I think he's a great guy and a great activist, and he knows what he's doing. Yes, he's very passionate, and he does get aggressive. He knows that. So, you know, the same can be said for quite a few of them. But in the end, we all have to just take a step back, take a breath, take a moment, you know, analyze the situation a little better. You know, I could go back to that situation that happened with Monkey. There's a good example of bootleggers that really are assholes. They jumped him.
Yeah.
You know, they beat him up. So, yeah, we are going to encounter bootlickers that are assholes. But assess the situation better.
Well, I just think that we would get a better response from the public if they didn't see us as assholes and saw us more as freedom fighters. Look, if your rights have been violated, you got damn good reason to be pissed off. But there's no reason to lose our cool with the public. We should be trying to educate them. That's all. I really think we need to think of a different way of doing this. Instead of, I agree also what was said earlier. Instead of auditing, switch more to cop watching. Video. Make sure you're a safe distance. Well, make sure you're a safe distance and you're not, disturbing the scene, because that can really wreak havoc on a police officer if you're getting too close to him. He's got to deal with you because he doesn't know who you are. He's working with someone that may potentially try to shoot him, and he doesn't know that. So I think that there needs to be some education on how to film a police officer without encroaching into his scene, so to speak. And we've seen gross negligence with that, and the police officers getting mad, if a person's filming from 80 feet away, which is ridiculous. It's just...
The problem, I agree with you, but the end result is, and I was guilty of this, 2.5, 3 years ago, whatever it was, I was anti-auditing, was the taboo of being cop baiters. That was one of when I first used to try and talk to the auditors, and before I knew a lot about it, I asked a lot of questions. I got ignored. So I got really bitter, and I started calling them all cop baiters. And it took a while for my eyes to be open. But there is that stigma of being cop baiters, whether whether it's cop watching or auditing, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Look
but
at
now remember what Catilla has said, and remember what even New England Truth and other auditors have said when asked. They said, we go to the places that do what? Elicit the most response. Think about that.
Well, yes, because auditing, I still believe in auditing too, because auditing is the most legal way we can express our rights and make sure that we won't be bothered by doing so.
But if you're going to a place that they're going to be bothered, because that's what they're doing, and people have said it out, and that's what I'm saying. If that's not what you're doing, Don't tell the public that, hey, we're going to the places that elicit the best response, so people, and you hear them all the time, hey, we're going to go in this building and see if people are going to be pissed off at us. Well, if that isn't baiting and not doing this, I don't believe it's doing it the right way, and it is baiting. If you're going to a place where I'm not going to go to that place, they never say anything. Well, we're going to go to this place because this place always, this
But
place
the
will
thing
do it.
is, if it's 100% legal, how is it baiting?
Okay, so if a cop puts out a bait car for a car thief, that's legal.
Yes, it is. They
and
do
it's
it.
called baiting.
Yeah, but the point is, you don't hear people screaming. You're not seeing Inside Edition shows of them calling for shutting down car baiting.
No, actually, you see the local news in the city of Chicago, because all these people, they put a car out in the middle of a parking lot in the middle of the projects, and they filled it with Nike shoes. And it's like, what made you think they wasn't going to get broken into? So that's what I'm saying. Call it what it is. And I have no problem with that. I don't.
What I like to see is an audit where, if they're going into a public lobby, fine. That's a public lobby. But not walking through office buildings, doing all, because obviously that will draw negative attention.
Yeah.
But standing out on the sidewalk in public view, that, and when if you're confronted, shut up. Don't say anything to the cop. Because that's the best way you can ensure that you're not going to say something, you're not going to slip and give them information that you don't want them to have, or you're not going to trigger them into arresting you because they interpret it as a threat, whatever.
Okay,
the silent audits are the best ones.
Oh, yeah, true. I want to address something. Fred said that the act of giving someone the opportunity to commit a crime is not the same as, I'm thinking you're, and I have something to say about that, buddy, because if a cop isn't how would you say, a rights smasher, and he's not a complete asshole, chances are it's not the same as entrapping them. Well, there's a few states that would disagree with you on that one, Fred, because a lot of people say that we're entrapping police officers by getting rude with them. And I'm not so sure because, you know something? I've also said that, I don't know if the auditors are finding assholes or creating them. I think in some cases they're creating them. But at the same time, it's the same argument, Fred. It's the same argument. If a cop's not a jerk, then he's not going to violate your rights. Okay? He's just not going to do that. So if you're out there filming him and he gets all upset about it, well, then he probably shouldn't work in the public sector. And this is where I get caught in the middle because I know police officers, a lot of them. I've trained them, and I'm friends with some of them. And we have this discussion all the time. You're saying now entrapment is the sense of saying, hey, here's a car to steal. Well, yeah, hey, here's an auditor. Come violate my rights. Think about what you just said, Fred. It's the same thing. Yeah, here's a person filming. What are you going to do? The difference is the person that steals the car is breaking the law. The person that's filming isn't. But the officer is by violating his rights. So, only a thief is going to break into a bait car. Because breaking in is the act of being a thief. It's against the law. So, violating someone's rights doesn't matter if they're filming or not. That officer is still violating their rights. No one enticed them to do it. They decided, I'm going to violate this person's rights. Just like the thief. No one said, hey, steal this car. The opportunity was there, and they did it. Okay, wait a second. Clashing Canada just said, Steve, I'm sorry to hear you are friends with police. Mind you, I guess it's better to keep your enemies as close as. No, really, Clash. I have some. I'm not going to be friends with a jerk of a police officer. I'm just not going to be. I mean, I'm just not going to associate with that. But I do associate with some police officers that I have trained with, and I hang out with. And I'm not going to hang out with them if I think they're a rights violator. And I've ridden with a lot of them on duty. So. Yeah, I know I understand your sympathy. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm friends with some police. Yeah. I've trained a lot of them in martial arts. And that's why I feel so passionate about their training needs to be harsh. I'm not talking about the McDojo, everybody gets a belt kind of class. No. There needs to be harsh training and brutal conflict resolution. If not, they're going to go into the streets totally unaware of what can possibly happen, and they're going to go in there with a false sense of security, and when the trouble hits them, they're going to lose it. You need to take an officer to that condition black over and over and over again until he can get through it without flipping out on somebody. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know we have officers in the chat. So.
Yeah. It's so aggravating, man.
It is.
I hate the bad auditors as much as I do the bad cops. The fly-by-night wannabe auditors that really are only doing it for money and for views, and that's all they care about. You know, they piss me off. Because they are just as much a problem. They are causing an entire civil rights movement to be frowned upon. And that's just wrong. That's like taking advantage of a baby, you know? You don't take the baby out and push him in a stroller and say it's yours just to get kisses from girls.
Yeah.
You know? You don't do that. It's just, I put so much into this, so much time, so much energy, helped so many channels, and so it kills me when I see people doing things that are harming it. You know, it's just frustrating.
Oh, God.
Roy.
Yeah, Roy. Roy, you sicko. That's sick. I don't know why. I don't know why they use super chats. I'm not even close to what it takes for me to be able to get any of that money back. People think we make tons of money because we're monetized now. That's funny. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. Send PayPals to Steve's Hair Club for Men.
Yeah. You can see the glow. It's like a light source in here, you know?
Now, see, I'm starting to stand on, like, the crown of my head, the top. That's where I'm standing. It's like, I'll be 40 this year, and I always enjoyed the fact that I had a full head of hair. And now it's going to be gone.
Yeah. Hold on a second here.
Why? Well, everybody's titling himself a bad auditor. Okay, I don't know why you said that, but
who said that?
El Jefe.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna put this up there. If you want to donate to the stream, it's up there right now. I'm just typing something here into the other computer, so I can see. There we go. This way, I can see if anybody donates through PayPal. And why didn't that let me get in there? Oh Okay, hang on. Let me try this again. I got too many computers in this room. I wish they were nice computers. They're so old. I got one decent computer. The rest are old.
I used to have a whole freaking server rack, man, when I was writing software.
Oh, yeah?
I had a full rack, man. And I used every single system in there. Back, man, I can go back to the old days when the computers, like, took up an entire desk.
Oh, yeah, the days of those big tube monitors and those monstrous, the CPUs and, oh, my God. And,
oh, yeah. That's where the name desktop came from. Not because it said on the desktop, because it was the size of a desktop.
Yeah.
Man, the puke green monochrome monitors. And, my first computer had a 30 megahertz processor. Now think about that. Think about 30 megahertz, not gigahertz.
Okay. Do you want to hear what my first computer was?
Well, actually, my first was a Commodore 64.
Oh, no. Well, and no, guys, I know someone's going to type it in that my first computer was not an Abacus. Okay. Oh, my God. Diego, what are you talking about? Tell Brian to come back to crud? Or are you trying to say crude?
It's Colorado Donkeys Discord. And Diego forgets the part about, the whole death and having to run speech to text and how, with Discord, they got people talking over each other. And what happens is my program shits itself and says inaudible.
Okay.
So, or it just creates sentences like, bird flocking, hamburger, cheese, flight. Because it'll mince words between people. So, that's why I don't get on there.
Damn it, Roy. Yeah, my first computer was not. I drew the best cave art, yeah.
I had an Abacus.
Yeah.
I used to use one.
No, my first computer was a Texas Instrument 13K computer. It was one that you plugged into the TV. And from there, I moved up to the TRS-80, the Radio Shack one. Oh, that was state of the arts. And from then, I just went, in 1989, I bought my first Mac.
Let's see, 1989 is when I swore off a Mac. I said I'll never use them again, and I've stuck to it.
I had the Macintosh Plus, and I had the expander CD drive for it and everything. Of course, it had the tiny black and white screen. It didn't go to a color screen till the SE2. But, oh, God, I miss Radio Shack, being able to go into a store and buy all that geek stuff when you needed it. I could go in there and buy capacitors or resistors or, SCRs, anything I needed. I did not create the Rosetta Stone, Roy, you jerk. No, I really, I had thoughts of coming on or just doing the video, and I was talking to you earlier about that, about talking about, what I'm seeing with the First Amendment, and I'm like, something, I really need to go live. I haven't gone live in a little bit, with everything that happened with my daughter and all that and what's going on there. I just kind of didn't want to go live, but, things are, it's not, the world can't end, and my daughter's not, she's, keeping her attitude up, and she's getting ready to fight this thing. So I can't really lay down and just roll over and say, oh yeah, I'm done here. So I'm gonna press on and do the same thing. So
Boulder.
Sumerians how to bake clay tablets. Oh my God, Michelle, my
The funny thing is, I bet you most people don't even know about the Sumerian culture.
Yeah, I know. Not too many people do it. I hate to say it, but I do. Anyway, guys, for Michelle who asked, My daughter is a cancer survivor. She had childhood leukemia from the age of 9 till 12, and she's been cancer free. And now she's 26 years old, and she has relapsed. And she has a boy, 3 years old, and it's just a real tough time. She's, and Ozark will tell you first off, when you get diagnosed, you're preparing for what kind of treatment's going to come your way, especially if you already had it once. And she knows what she's going to have to go through to fight this, so that is really weighing on her right now. But the girl is going to fight this. Let me tell you something. She beat all the odds before. She knows she's not going to listen to the doctor's percentages they throw at her. She's going to laugh them off and just press on. So yeah, she's got a form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma right now, and she's going to fight it. So, hey man, don't talk about my moobs, okay? Brian, look at that. My guest is on there trashing my moobs.
Well, it could be worse, man. You could start twerking again.
Hey, you want to raise some money?
I'll
get up there. I'll twerk if I'll raise some money.
Well, there you go, guys.
No.
Don't take that.
Oh no, I'm not twerking. You guys don't have enough money to make me twerk. No, not gonna happen. Just saying that right now. I did it once. And I still can't believe that we ended up with that kind of money. It's just oh my God. People were paying for me not to. Yeah, I know. They were paying for me not to.
Oh, man. I should do that. I should do a pay me not to twerk stream. Just to see. Nobody wants to see my ass bouncing up and down. Yes, he has, Roy.
Yeah, Texas, don't say that. They need to believe what they want to believe. Okay? They need to believe what they want to believe. See, Texas Red was one of my karate students. So no. Let them believe what they want to believe. I'd rather that.
Yeah, I miss it, man. I miss the training and all that. Oh,
God, yeah. I can't train like I used to, but I still train, and I really, really need to supplement my training with more weightlifting, and that's because you get 50. I'm 52 years old. The testosterone levels start to go down, and you got to constantly work out to keep them up. You start taking supplements, and that's when I can hit the weights better, when I'm taking supplements and stuff like that. I really, really need to hit the weights more. Oh, really? Really, Boulder? I invented disco? Oh, my God. Oh, if I did, you should kill me. Jeez. Believe me, if I invented disco, I would be worthy of death. Although there are some kind of... I like Motown, so, yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire, pretty good. So, yeah.
Yeah, Motown is good, but I come from the days of, NWA, so...
Yeah.
I come
from the days of Marvin Gaye. Earth, Wind, and Fire, The Fifth Dimension. But... Hey, anybody got any questions or anything? I mean, we got me and Brian here. We can answer them, so we can spend the last couple of minutes in the chat answering questions. I'm so old I invented classical music. Really? Jeez, I wish I did. Old school. Brian, are you asking if me and Brian are brothers? Oh, what happened with the hog hunt? Me and Big Riggin left this morning to head home, but we were out Thursday night to Friday night all night long trying to get after the hogs and the coyotes, but all we saw was deer all night long. Yeah. And no, Ryan, Brian and me, no, we're not brothers. So, And no, Roy, it was not Beethoven's mentor, that deaf bastard.
Oh, that was so thin. I'm glad you saw it, Texas, right? Nobody else did.
Okay, what did I miss? Wait a second now. And now I just saw what you wrote, Brian. I was wondering when my mom had a black eye for the first year of my life. Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be some good hog hunting, and normally, especially when we go out and we mix some strawberry jello powder with the corn and let it sit in the heat all day long and then pour it out there and get those hogs coming in, nothing. Not a thing. We couldn't even call in a coyote. It was crazy. And then after that, about 4 o'clock in the morning, we gave up, sat around a campfire, smoked cigar, and drank whiskey. And that was probably the best thing I could have done to get my mind off stuff. Truth be told, I shouldn't even been out there hunting.
Now, since we're coming to the end of the stream here, I'm gonna no, it's not. Ask them all. But I'm gonna spam something now because I can never find anybody that's like into this kind of stuff. But I'm like building like a wind turbine, a wind generator, and I'm trying to build it so that I can actually use it as to power my house because electric bills are ridiculous. And I built some magnet rotors, but I built it out of like random sized magnets. I got the stator built, which is the coils of wire, and basically the magnets spin around the coils, and that's what creates electricity. The nutshell version of it. But the magnets I have are way too weak. So is there, if anybody in here has got any, neodymium magnets laying around you're not using? Because, I need like 25 magnets, and they're like $20 each. So, but, it's a lifetime of power, so that's why I'm trying to do it. So, I'm doing a video on all the pieces that I've made so far, but the stator came out real freaking cool. I sent Steve a picture of it. That damn epoxy cleared, like crystal clear. So
yeah, I saw that. That was really cool. Hey, and I won't say the last name unless you want me to, but thank you, Nicholas, for the $5 PayPal. Very cool. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And 2 times 88. Are you asking me if I'm from the East Coast originally? Yes, I am. I am from the Northeast. From Rhode Island originally. Moved here 20 years ago. Yeah, Ozark was talking about, is it bad to ask your nurse for a sponge bath? Let me tell you something, Ozark. My last bad motorcycle accident, it was 1987. I used to wait for the prettiest nurses to be on duty before I would ask. Yeah, I had both my arms in a cast, so I couldn't exactly go to the bathroom by myself. So I did the same thing, drink lots of water and wait for the prettiest nurse to come in. I was bad. Come on, I was young. It was 1987. I was 20 years old. God, I was such a...
Judy, I've already... See, they actually kind of encourage it here because if you generate more money or more electricity than you use, it goes back into the grid, and then they give you money. So you actually get paid by the power company.
Yeah, see, me and Ozark are talking about hot nurses, and you're talking about generating electricity. Okay?
Well, I'm tired of my power getting shut off.
Okay. Yeah, this is true. So, yeah, we're going to try to fix that. Sure. We'll
why not? I've been building it out of scraps and donations and whatever. So I got a couple of bicycle gears, some what's it called? It's the deraillers and shit off of bikes. A couple of those that I'm gonna use to make the gearbox. So, hey, if I can, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, that'd be really cool. I was pretty amazed, pretty impressed with the coil picture when you sent it to me. Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Some of those hot nurses, back in 1987, when I was in the hospital for that bike accident, if you had hooked up a couple of wires to me, a couple of those nurses could have generated enough electricity for a small city. I'm just saying. Yeah,
wow.
Off-grid living. Oh my God, that would be so nice. Off-grid living.
Yep, it would be. I mean, I'm trying, but it's hard, when you build it all yourself.
Oh my God, really, Roy? In 1987, I was already 5,100 years old. I was the original dirty old man. Oh yeah. That's a proud title. What is it about teachers? Dang it, Boulder, I was a school teacher, and man, when I was a school teacher, what is it that, if you're a male teacher, women want to date you, and if you're a female teacher, all the guys want to date you? I don't understand that, but that's the truth. That's the truth, but I'll tell you something.
It's that authority figure.
Yeah, maybe, but I have to tell you something, guys. I had the guy's dream. I did. University of Rhode Island, the library was run by this little cardigan-wearing girl. She was what, 26, 25, 26, and a PhD in library science. Okay, we're talking glasses, cardigan, sweater. Yeah, I dated her. Okay, the head of the University of Rhode Island Library. Yes, and the stories they say about the hot librarian, they're all true. I'm just saying, they're all true.
Right.
And Roy is still on the age. Yeah, when I'm 5,200 years old, I hope I'm half the dirty old man you are.
Hey, Victor, what's up, man?
Yes, thanks for stopping. And guys, we're kind of getting off on a
random topic.
Yeah, so
hey, it's free speech.
Yes, it is. It is. At the same time, I think we've said all that we need to say on the topic, and I really didn't want to go too long tonight.
Yeah, that's fine, man. Well, I'll let you know about tomorrow. For everyone that's in here, tomorrow night, I'll be doing a stream. You may or may not have heard of the guy. He goes by the name Blue Bacon. He's a new channel, but he's kind of like semi-anti-auditing channel, which that's what he says. To me, he comes across as totally anti-auditing. But, but yeah, Ozark, yeah. But, so yeah, that's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern time. So, you guys might want to tune into that. I'm trying to get Fergie Potato to sit in on it too, but I don't know if she'll be sitting in or not. If not, then I'll probably have Steve Pinder sitting in on it.
Sounds like
so,
a good
and the
time.
reason I want to have Furry sit in on it is because the guy has done like 5 videos on Furry.
Okay. Sounds cool. So, hold on a second here. I'm trying to check again to see if there's any more PayPals coming in so I can announce them. Sucker Punch News.
Even though he's changed his name 3 times.
Yeah, I will definitely check that out. You guys see that? Everybody check out Sucker Punch News in the chat. And guys, if you know anybody in the chat that's got their own channel, yeah, go check them out. Okay, I'm going to scroll up here, and I mean, there's I know there's some people in here that have their own channels. If you have your own channel, type something in there and tell everybody. Then go check them out. Hey, QT. The new name throws me off, man. I'm not going to say what your real name is, QT, but the name throws me off a little. Okay, so let me go ahead and start to bring this to a close here. And we'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for stopping in, guys. I really needed to do the live stream tonight. It really, really helps me now. I'm just to get my mind off things, and I kind of was in a little bit of a bum and slump here over the last week, and I'm doing better now. Just preparing for the battle ahead. That's all. And it's not me that's going to have to do the battle. I just got to be strong for my daughter when she's fighting this thing. So we'll get through it. She's a strong girl. Through God, she beat it once before, and she'll do it again. So thank everybody for coming and hanging out with me and Brian and giving your 2 cents to our discussion. And I will start the music to close this thing out.
All right. I'll see y'all later.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Brian. I'll talk to you in Messenger as soon as we get out of here.
All right, man.
Okay, man.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Remember, always what we talked about most of the stream, they're your rights. Don't ask for them. If you ask for them, you don't deserve them. You demand them, and you use them. And make sure you are trained that you carry a gun if you can. Okay? Make sure you do that. Make sure you're licensed if you have to be licensed. Make sure that you have your training for retention so you can physically retain that gun and no one takes it away from you. Make sure that you have physical combat training. It doesn't, just because you know how to pull a gun doesn't mean you should. Okay? Make sure you're physically trained. And, you know, we all have loved ones around us. So if you do that, you'll be able to protect yourself, your loved ones, and everyone else around you. God bless everyone, and good evening.